Now, this man is the first and the oldest recorded Jamaican-born fighter in any combat sport, and he made his debut in boxing. So who is TK Wint? Well, he was born Thomas Kincaid Wint at 4 Pass, Muckle, Clarendon, Jamaica on June the 2nd, 1986. His mother's name is Martha Anderson. His father's name is Daniel Wint. He married in 1911 to a Miss Grosset at the age of 24, and then 2 years later, he made his professional welterweight boxing debut, which was on April 5th, 1913 in Kingston, Jamaica, against a Polish-Russian named Abraham Jacob Holanderski, aka Abe the Newsboy, who now TK Wint was making his debut while the Newsboy was making his 74th professional fight appearance. So they went 3 rounds. Okay, it was a 3-round fight. TK Wint lost, but how the fight went was he lost the first round, there's a draw in the second, and then he lost the last round. So he lost on points. So as I said, at this point, TK Wint is the first recorded Jamaican fighter of any combat sport. He ended up being known as the Young Jack Johnson. Hold on, people. If you don't follow boxing, it's like a young basketball player coming into the league and they call him the young LeBron James, the young Kobe Bryant, or the young Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, man. TK Wint. They called him the Young Jack Johnson. Yeah, man. So if you don't know who he is, show YouTube, watch the most documentary they have on Jack Johnson. You know what I mean? He's also, a little bit of stories featured in episode number 1. So you can go back to that too. Now, TK Wint, I'm just trying to make everybody understand the nature of what's happening here. TK Wint now, him and his opponents now created a whole boxing scene in Jamaica where people from all over the world were coming to, some people moving to, and it was giving an opportunity now for Jamaican-born to get into the game, get into the martial art, combat sports world of boxing in particular at this time, and giving them an opportunity to use something as a medium to improve their quality of life. You know what I mean? So this is legendary. So I would like everyone to really, really, really pay attention. This may not be an action-packed episode with highlights and knockouts. It's none of that. But this is the foundation one. This is what set the trend. And I think we should all really pay attention to this one. Because I set an example. We would like our history, our combat sports history and culture to be known and redefined in all of our youth and our fellow, people's minds. You know what I mean? History is very important and we have to tell our history. And, one thing we're revealing in this Fighters of Jamaica and Descent movement is that Jamaica are the best fighters in the world. So, subscribe, tune in, share all this, and anything you see on this. So now TK Wint, he fought other Caribbean fighters too, West Indian fighters, many of them Cubans. One name was Alicio Quintana. He was known as the Lion of Cuba. They fought him twice and they each won one. You know what I mean? There's a Panamanian called Dixie Kid, battling Jim Flowers, who you'll hear about him a little bit later. He came from Belize. He moved to Jamaica. He not even of descent. Who else? Joe Jeanette of Trinidad. I'll eat more, man. Came from different places, islands. Cuban-born young Sam McVeigh, Panamanian. He also fought and defeated all but one American. Fought fellow Jamaicans who were making their debut also. Some of the names were like Topsy King, Bombardier Bonager, Sergeant Samuels, who also appears to be from like military, you know? Now, there's also a fighter recorded as unknown student. No, I'm not sure what student means, but I have an idea. I know if it's a coach of, somebody of a gym, or if it was school student. We'll touch on this a little bit more later. He also fought fellow Jamaicans, Kid Silver and Battling Jim Flowers. And those were the next two after him. They were the young up-and-comers. And boy, TK Wint held the fort, laid the foundation, and built it. And then some young man coming like, Bounty and Vibes, and there's enough examples like that in the world, and where man laid down the foundation. So that the purpose of this is really so that we can put him up on the wall, and all the works be remembered and the example be set, because it's a good example that we can apply today. So people, please follow along. And for the fighters out there and anybody who sympathizes with the cause, don't be shy to support and, share the movement. Now, TK Wint's fights in Jamaica were at Melbourne Park. Now, it no longer exists, but I think it's at cricket grounds now or then. I don't know what it is now, but I know at one time it was a cricket ground. He also fought at Ward Theatre in Kingston and Central Park in Kingston too. So he became known as the lineal Jamaica welterweight champion, holding the title until his late 40s, to, like I was just saying, battling Jim Flowers, who came in from Bailey's, and Jamaican-born Kid Silver, who will feature both of them in future episodes. See, so don't worry about that. Now, he was known as one of the most talented black boxers in the Caribbean. Quote, TK Wint billed as the young Jack Johnson, welterweight champion of the West Indies. Now, there are some articles that caught record of TK Wint in the past. There's not many, but the ones that are there are very influential, especially for the people today, the fighters today of any of the combat sports, to hear, to learn and understand. Now, I'm going to go through generally with it today, right now in this episode. And we're going to go in depths in another episode or in another season when we feature TK Wint again. Yeah, man, he dropped some gem, man. All right, so this article starts by saying, it's a Gleaner article, June the 2nd, 1933. TK Wint, 47 years today, challenges any man at his age and weight. So pause. Yeah, man, that's how the article started. So TK Wint at 47 challenged any man at his age and weight. In 1933, June the 2nd. This article, he goes on and shows his support for his fighter, Kid Silver. So after TK Wint is a boxer, he then becomes a coach, and he's still challenging people to fight. Yeah. That was when Kid Silver was fighting a Cuban fighter. There's some other articles now. Yeah, one of TK Wint gym at one time was downtown Kingston at the famous Liberty Hall on King Street on Victoria Ave. And then later, his gym moved to the western side of the National Hero Circle, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I'll take all responsibility for making this statement, but the National Hero Circle, if I'm not correct, is not Wolmer's College there. And what I know for a fact, the last few RFL, Mixed Martial Arts, Jamaica's first and most authentic mixed martial arts fight promotion has been having their fights there. You know what I mean? That's amazing to hear. Now, TK Wint also moved, I guess, other plate locations to where it was called and known as Stanley Coach Gym today. So, from my understanding, Stanley Coach Gym is the national gym, the Jamaican National Boxing Gym. It was formerly known as TK Wint's Gym. There's another few articles. One is about 1949 to 1959. In the run-up to the 1949 elections, the national elections, Bustamante relocated from Kingston to Moko in order to campaign to represent Southern Clarendon, which was then a stronghold for the JLP. While in Moko, Bustamante stayed at the shanty home of TK Wint, a well-known physical culturist and welterweight champion. One writer who knew Wint's shanty descendant described it as a property with the semblance of an old English mansion, as in the days of slavery, with its orange and tangerine grove of a well for good measure. In addition to the main house, Wint built a separate structure that he used as a gym for training boxers, including heavyweight Bunny Grant. Pause for a minute. So that's what we mean. He became, after he laid down the foundation as a fighter, he became and laid down the foundation as a coach, trainer. And this is just one of the examples. And I'll go into further a little bit later on what else he did. Now, later this structure was demolished, though the foundation is left, and the community used it as an area for events such as dances. Now, just following the JLP loss in the 1955 elections, Bustamante left Wint's shantytown with its pots unwashed, though the dismal gloom of enshrouded defeat. Now, the last article, the big one. This one is a foundation worthy article relating to TK Wint and combat sports, all of them in Jamaica. Please, this goes out to all of us fighters of Jamaican descent, to all the sympathizers, to all the supporters, the coaches, the promoters, all them. And we want to get this message out to Jamaica and get it out to the world said way. Here it goes. The title of the article is Boxing in Schools, written by Leroy Brown, published by The Gleaner, December 26, 2012, title Boxing in Schools has a long and colorful history. Making a plea for boxing in schools many years ago, a well-known Jamaican had this to say, quote, "Boxing is not only one of the finest sports, but far and away the safest. Football is positively a dangerous game, and in cricket, they might be killed at any time by that ball. Boxing has 3 outstanding points. To say the least, it teaches sportsmanship, courage, self-reliance, and that is why we are hoping to see it spread in the schools and hope that it will never die." Pause. Let me just interject for a moment. That's the point I'm trying to get across, and we're trying to get across here. We have a chance, we have an opportunity. If we do this right, we come together and we work together. It's been done before. If you look at the history, how it was done and why it was done. So my thing is, why not? Let me continue with the article. The well-known Jamaican who made these bold remarks was then the president of the Jamaica Boxing Board of Control, the JBBC. His name was Norman Wellington Manley, the former premier of Jamaica and a national hero. I never knew that, But anyway, continue. The occasion was